All right, let's get started. Welcome, everyone. Today's session is all about leadership. So this session marks an important moment for our so-called Tamil youth leadership and entrepreneurship, the STYLE program. We call it a STYLE, and we want to have more collaboration with the City Council, and they have a lot of initiatives for youth. And especially this month, City of Eastvale is celebrating the Volunteer Recognition Month. All right. Every parent tells their kid to dream big, right? And we have our special guest who dreams big for the entire city. We are honored to have the City of Eastvale's council member and former mayor, Mrs. Jocelyn Yow, with us today. And thanks for joining us, Mrs. Jocelyn. And the Tamil-speaking community is a global community for several centuries with a well-developed civilization more than 2,000 plus years. I want to say her Vanakkam, which means greetings in Tamil. Thanks for joining us, Mrs. Jocelyn. The STYLE program, the goal of the STYLE program is to help our students to empower themselves in making a good career choices and explore different options, leadership, entrepreneurship, and volunteering opportunities, science and technology, and a lot. So let's get through the agenda of this session. So if you look at it, I'm going to make some housekeeping announcements, and then we have Mrs. Nithya Uttaman, who joined, and she is our Executive Vice President of so-called Tamil Org. And then Eastvale Tamil Kalvi is a very powerful, a part of so-called Tamil Org, which is a fast-growing entity. And we have Mr. Bala, who is the founder of Eastvale Tamil Kalvi, and also who is a former president of so-called Tamil Org, who joined us. And then we have Ms. Shana, who is going to introduce our chief guest, Mrs. Jocelyn Yow, and also to welcome us. And then Mrs. Jocelyn Yow is going to give a speech to our students, and then we are going to have a small Q&A session. And then Ms. Pooja Hare Krishna is going to deliver a small word of thanks for the audience and Mrs. Jocelyn. And some housekeeping instructions very quickly. So this session is being recorded, and we will upload this into our so-called Tamil organization's YouTube channel for the benefit of the students who can make it today. And it's totally voluntary to turn on or show your video. However, we encourage it. And please mute your audio if you're not talking, and please hold your questions until the Q&A session. And we have a dedicated time for Q&A. And during the Q&A, please unmute yourself and ask relevant questions to Mrs. Jocelyn. And she has a hard stop at 7 p.m., so please be crisp in your turn. Now, I would like to hand over to Mrs. Nithya Uttaman, who is our Executive Vice President of so-called Tamil Org, to give an introduction about our nonprofit organization. Over to you, Nithya.
Thank you, Saravanan. First of all, I'm very honored and very thankful that Mrs. Jocelyn Yow was able to join us today in this meeting. So thank you, and good evening, everyone. I want to give a brief introduction about our organization, like an overview. We are actually a nonprofit organization, and we started in 2010. And we have from 2010 we have grown in leaps and bounds. The main mission of our organization is empowering and upholding and promoting the culture and heritage of Tamil diaspora here in Southern California. And we take pride, I think Saravanan already mentioned that Tamil, we have very rich literature that has been documented for over 2,000 years. So we take a pride in that. And our main focus of the organization, we focus on 4 main areas. The first is actually teaching Tamil to our next generation kids. And we have over 381 students in this current academic year where we teach Tamil to our kids, and it's all like a volunteer-run organization. We have centers in Irvine, Brea, Eastville, Bakersfield, Santa Maria, and Mission Viejo, and Antelope Valley. And our next main focus is we conduct a lot of cultural activities throughout the year, and all the activities, our main focus is to teach or like show our culture to our next generation. We promote a lot, we conduct a lot of activities to promote our culture and also like teach them our tradition and language. So some of the activities that we do throughout the year is, I think you probably would have heard about Festival of Lights, which is Diwali. And we also, this is a significant celebration in India where the concept is good always wins over evil. And we also do a harvest festival event in January. It's similar to Thanksgiving here. And we conduct summer picnics and we teach like traditional sports that we used to play back in home. We want to teach that to our kids here. And the next focus also is women empowerment. A lot of women here, we try to just show the talent of our kids, but we don't have like a stage or many opportunities here to showcase their own talents. So what we do is in our women's in March Women's Day event, we try to conduct talent shows so women can bring out their talents. And we also honor women entrepreneurs in our community. And here I want to mention, like the last Women's Day, we were very thankful that our Erwin Mayor, Mrs. Farah Khan, was the chief guest for the event. And she gave a very powerful speech on women empowerment. And she has been our constant supporter for the organization. Even last year, we had a virtual event and she gave a wonderful speech. And I also wanted to mention that we received, our organization received a certificate of recognition from the Irvine Mayor. She presented an award to our organization because towards actually upholding and promoting the culture and heritage of Tamil speaking Indians, our contribution, and also towards empowering the women entrepreneurs. And the next focus is like style. I think Saravanan probably gave an enough, like he gave an introduction about it. So that's our fourth main focus. In addition to these four focus areas, we also do a lot of fundraising events. We work for social causes like flood relief, and then we have we conduct blood drives every year, and then we raise funds to like we have help like poor farmers back in India, provide them with plants. So these are some of the social activities that we do. And again, I want to thank Mrs. Jocelyn for joining us today, and I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Balakrishnan to take it on from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Nitya.
Thank you, Nitya. It was very nicely presented overview of our organization. It was really impressive. Thank you. And welcome, Jocelyn, Ms. Jocelyn Yow, our esteemed council member of Eastvale. We are very honored to have you today. And because you're from Eastvale, we wanted to present you and show you what we do here as part of our the massive SoCal Tamil nonprofit organization here in Eastvale. We have our language class, Indian language class, like as Nitya and Saravanan mentioned. We teach Tamil language is a South Indian ancient classical language as recognized by the by world leaders. It's been here for many years, and we want to preserve and cherish our culture and then pass it on to our future generations here in Southern California. So we took an initiative to start this Tamil Kalvi, the language education, that what we know, we teach our kids, and what they know, they teach their kids. And that's how language survives for many years to come. So we started here in Eastvale, we started established this Tamil Kalvi, Eastvale Tamil Kalvi. Kalvi is education, by the way. Here in Eastvale back in 2015, with about 10 children, in a garage here in Eastvale. And we slowly grew out of space, and then we had to move. A couple of years later, we had to move to Circle City Center in Corona until the pandemic struck, and after which we had to revert to virtual classes at the world, along with the rest of the world. So we've been conducting virtual classes for more than 2.5 years now. And we are currently in our 7th academic year here in Eastvale. And we are going to complete that academic year next month. So our graduation is going to be on the 15th of May, 2022. And the graduation, as you came to know, that we do it with all the 7 centers here in Southern California that is operating under the SoCal Tamil nonprofit organization. We have about close to 400 kids, about 300 families that will gather for this graduation in Irvine Regional Park on May 15th. Parents and families from Irvine, Brea, Eastvale, Mission Viejo, Bakersfield, Santa Maria, and Antelope Valley will convene and celebrate this graduation day next month. So we do conduct a systematic classes from kindergarten to grade 8. And because this is a heavily parent-run organization, so we rely on the parents who knows to speak and write Tamil, to come forward, who has interest to teach Tamil, and who can commit to teach Tamil on a weekly basis. We encourage them to come forward to teach our kids, and we conduct kindergarten to grade 8 classes. And we have currently 17 virtual classes, like a classrooms, if you will, that our teachers and parents teach our children every Friday, starting from August all the way to May. That's our academic year, and except for holidays. And we convene, the classes convene every Fridays for 90 minutes from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Fridays, Pacific time. And we can, and the classes go on until we cover all those syllabuses. Right. Currently, we have about 88 students enrolled in Eastvale Tamil Kalvi. That's about 62 families that we have, active families, that is volunteering for this program, the language education program. And and the reason these families, and including ourselves, are able to do this because in a systematic, organized manner is because we are heavily affiliated with International Tamil Academy. They were formerly called as California Tamil Academy. They are recognized by the government of Tamil Nadu. The Tamil Nadu is a state in India, just like a California state in US. They are recognized by the government of Tamil Nadu. So the books, they provide us the books, they provide us the syllabus, they provide us the test schedules, they provide us everything that we can follow, whatever they follow back in India. Our kids can follow the same syllabus, the same program, to read and speak the same language, so that it facilitates and makes it easier for teachers to follow through those. So we are heavily affiliated with International Tamil Academy. And we are also WASC certified. Western Association of Schools and Colleges has provided us a certification that is governed by Accrediting Commission for Schools here in the US, because we were able to show the capacity, the unified capacity, and the commitment to this program for many years, for continuously many years. We started this program back in 2011 in Irvine, and 2015 in Eastvale. So we are able to showcase that commitment, and then the competence to support high quality student learning. So on a continuously improvement basis. So they recognized us for that commitment and the quality of language education we are able to bring to our community. And we honor volunteers for all our kids. Like, the kids who is learning Tamil here can come back to us and volunteer for us as a teaching assistant, or a library assistant, and or in any or in competition, right? So anything that we do, or at the SoCal level organization, we conduct sports, we conduct cultural programs, anything they are able to volunteer, we are able to provide them and honor them with volunteer hours. And looking ahead for next year and the years to come, we're starting to start our next academic year in August 2022. We are expecting, again, with the real estate boom, a lot of people migrated to Eastvale, and we are expecting more growth next year, about 100 to 120 students. That's about like 85 to 90 families next academic year. And we are also going to work with CNUSD to bring in high school credit program for our Tamil-speaking kids, so that when they go hit the high school, they can use those language credit programs in their favor, so that they don't have to. So when they are supposed to learn a third language or a second language, they already have this program to their advantage. And finally, as the growth rate is increasing, and the world is moving towards back to normal life, away from virtual back to in-person, and the socializing and social distancing is going away, and socializing is being embraced. We want to move to a higher facility or bigger facility to accommodate the growth rate that we are having. So we're looking to move to a high school facility this academic year here in August. So we're going to work with the CNUSD, Coronado Unified School District, and hopefully we can get some classroom facilities that could help our kids, or the classrooms. We have 17. We may grow more next year, so we need more classrooms. So we are looking to go into a high school facility. So having said that, this is an enormous feat that has been done and accomplished by parents every week over week here in Eastvale, and we convene every Fridays. So I want to thank all the parent volunteers, and I wanted to especially thank Saravanan and Somu for providing us with this opportunity and bringing our council member to this session, so that we can start connecting and bringing more to the community, and engage our kids to more additional volunteer opportunities. And thank you again, and we welcome you, Jocelyn Yow, Miss Jocelyn Yow. Looking forward to creating a successful relationship and learning from your experience, and I'm hoping this will be a greater session for all of our kids to step up in the right direction for their career growth. And thank you, Saravanan, and back to you.
Thank you so much, Paula. That's on the Eastvale Tamil Kalvi operations. And moving on, I would like to call upon Ms. Shana Bala, who is in our Eleanor Roosevelt High School freshman, and she's our lead style volunteer, and also she's very good in multiple volunteering opportunities and so many things. And I would like to call upon her to welcome the chief guest and introduce Mrs. Jocelyn Yow to us.
Good evening, everyone, parents, students, Mrs. Yow. Thank you for being able to make it to the STYLE seminar. Today, I'd like to introduce you to our chief guest, Mrs. Jocelyn Yow. Mrs. Yow is currently a council member of the City of Eastvale. In November 2020, at age 25, she became the youngest woman of color to become mayor of a California city. Her educational achievements include a master's degree from Harvard Extension, getting a bachelor's degree from the University of California, Berkeley, and an associate's degree from Norfolk College. On to her current and past work experience. Mrs. Yow started serving in the government from the age of 18. She's been a major part of the Eastvale Schools Committee, the Civic Center Subcommittee, and the COVID-19 Economic Recovery Committee. She's also served as a district representative for the California State Senate and the United States House of Representatives. She's the founder of Eastvale's Little Library Project, which strives to create accessibility to books within the city of Eastvale. The little libraries are custom built by ERHS STEM students and are maintained by residents and volunteers. Mrs. Yow works with with the Eastvale City Youth Council, an organization that focuses on empowering the youth of our city through community service projects, youth resources, and key partnership with the City of Eastvale. Mrs. Yow is the director of Ignite, which is a national nonprofit organization by and for young women to become the next generation of political leaders. This was just a brief overview of Mrs. Jocelyn Yow and her achievements. Now, without waiting any longer, I'd like to open the floor to Mrs. Yow for her to tell us about her experience and advice for aspiring leaders.
Thank you, Shana. Now the floor is yours, Mrs. Jocelyn Yow.
Thank you. Thank you for the lovely introduction, and thank you again for having me here. It's lovely to connect with all of you, and thank you for spending your Saturday evening with me. I know it's weekends are tricky. Dinner time is it's also tricky, but it's also like I'm just really glad to be here. But I will start off by, I know there was a bio about me, you all know what I'm doing right now, but I just want to start off by sharing how I got to where I am and my journey along the way. I was born here in the in SoCal, actually I'm sorry, in the Bay Area in NorCal, specifically in San Jose. That's where my parents met. That's where they got married. That's where they bought their first house. My mom was a refugee from Vietnam War, and if you know anything about San Jose, there's a huge Vietnamese diaspora in San Jose, and so that's where my mom lived. And then my dad, this was like back in the days when Silicon Valley was just starting out. He worked as an engineer at back then, you know, like just the baby Silicon Valley, that's what I call it. They were able to buy their first house and it was only like 250,000 back then. Now you just add a 1 in front of that 250, and it's at least $1 million in San Jose now. And then they had me, but what happened was that at that time, my paternal grandfather, so on my dad's side, my grandfather got cancer, and it's a big thing in our culture, and I'm assuming it across Asian culture as well, where, you know, like the oldest kid, and especially in my dad's case, the oldest son, the oldest kid of 4, he you know, we felt like it was our obligation to take care of our grandparents, and we were happy to do so, and I'm very glad we did that, because I was able to spend time with my grandfather before he passed away. So we moved back to Malaysia, and and I started school there. And so, you know, by then they were like, well, Jocelyn already started school here. And I started making friends. And I don't know about y'all, but once you start school, you know, you just want to stay. Like, you want to stay with your friends. You want to stay with the same group of people. And so we end up staying there until I graduated from high school when I was 16 years. So in Malaysia, it's a little bit different from the United States. Our school starts in January and ends in November. So that's why I was able to graduate a little bit earlier. And when I moved back here, we actually thought about moving back to San Jose, but lo and behold, when we saw the housing price, we were like, what happened? My parents had sold their house, unfortunately, or else we would be a millionaire right now. But they sold their house back then when we moved back to Malaysia. So we couldn't afford to move to buy a house in San Jose and just the Bay Area in general. And so that's when my family, my uncle, my aunts, they suggested, they were like, well, oh, have you considered Eastvale? And we're like, where's Eastvale? They were like, well, it's safe. We have good school, and yeah, just check it out. And so we came here, and I was like, yeah, this will do. And so that's how we got to Eastvale in 2011, and I was enrolled at our local community college, Norco College, and that was actually my introduction to public service and politics. Because growing up, we never talk about politics. My parents are not into politics at all, even till this day, even though their daughter was the mayor, is the current council member, they still don't care about politics. The only time they care is when the gas price hit $5 and they're like, what happened? That's the only time when they start reading about politics. But aside from that, like they're really not interested in politics. And so we never talk about politics growing up. And when I was in Oracle College, I just wanted to help out. Like, I was very eager. I was that kid. I know that one kid who just went to everyone and said, do you need help? Do you need help? Do you need help? Like, I can volunteer. I can volunteer. And so, and that's exactly what I did. And the student government folks from student government were like, yeah, we need lots of help. Like, can you help at this event, this event, this event? I'm like, sure, sign me up. As long as someone can drive me, because I didn't have a car back then. And so they drove me, and I was able to help out at different events, including my very first city event. I helped out at the state of the city for City of Eastvale. Back then, I didn't even know what state of the city. In fact, does anyone know what state of the city is? No. Okay. So have you guys heard of like State of the Union, where the president of the United States, every year they typically would address the entire country, and it's usually broadcast on news outlet. So State of the City, it's where the mayor, like it happens every year, the mayor would address everyone in the city and give an update on what's happening. And last year it took place at Vantage Point Church. And then the previous year, it actually took place at Roosevelt High School. I'm sorry, the previous year it was virtual because of COVID, but the year before that, it took place at the high school. And in fact, because it was virtual, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. Y'all should probably check that out and just, it's really long. I wouldn't watch the entire thing, but like maybe fast forward a little bit here and there, just so that you can know what's going on in the city. But
yeah, I do have the link, Mrs. Jocelyn. I will send it to the students. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. They do get really long though, so I don't blame you if you fast forward a little bit. That's totally okay, or else I would fall.
And there is also a short summary video that all council members made it.
Yes. Right? Oh, that one is much more entertaining. Yes, right. I like that. That one is a good one. Yeah, do that one. That one is much better. And in the city of Eastvale, I love the state of the city because we get free food. Like all the restaurants will come, if anyone has been to our state of the city. So all the restaurants, they set up a booth and then they will give out free food. So yeah, definitely. I know this coming year, mark your calendar when that's announced. Make sure everyone gets the invite and just come for the free food. And tips, like if you really don't want to listen to the speech, just come for the free food. Anyway, so that's happening. So that happens every year. So I was able to volunteer at the state of the city without even knowing what it was back then. But that was really my introduction to politics and public service. And when I transferred to UC Berkeley, well, it's UC Berkeley. Everyone is politically involved there. And so that was when I got even more involved. And when I moved back home, I worked for the state senate. And later for a few congressional members, and then ran for office myself at the age of 23. And here I am now, still on council. I will say, the one thing though that I wish I would have known back then was that, and this is something that I always tell the next generation, our young people, our students, is that you don't have to study politics to be in politics. You can study anything. You can be a doctor and still be involved in politics. You can be an engineer and still be involved in politics. So you do not have to study political science or government, or I don't know what are the typical majors of yeah, you don't have to study any of that. Like you could study anything you want and still be involved in politics. In fact, a dear friend of mine, her name is Jasmine Baines. She lives in Bakersfield, but she's a doctor. She's actually a practicing physician, a full-time doctor who is running for state assembly. And so she, I just want to highlight that you can do anything. You can major in anything you want. Don't. In fact, I always encourage people to major in other stuff aside from political science and government, because it just helps widen your perspective. Like, you know, especially in STEM, like we need more politicians from STEM background. I will be the first to admit, like whenever we have like city engineering project, I'm like, what are you talking about? Can you like take me 10 steps back, like explain to me? Because I don't have that background, right? And I appreciate people who have that background. So that's the one thing I wish I would have told myself, is that you don't have to major in political science or government or whatever it may be. Major in anything, like anything that you like, and you can still pursue politics. And also, like, not sure if you guys know this, but city government pays really well. If you don't want to run for office, but you still want to be somewhat involved in government, like go for those positions. Like all cities are hiring. So not sure if you guys know this, but city jobs pay really well, but also, like, you know, every city needs those people who are running the city. It's not just city council, right? Like going back to that comment about, like, you know, I don't know everything about engineering. So we have a team of city engineers. We have, in fact, I think I know for sure we have at least 5 city engineers in the city, and they all get paid really well with really good benefits. I know it's probably something that you don't think about until you're closer to retirement and you're like, oh my goodness, I need all the benefits. But city jobs, yeah, it's something that you can always consider as well. And yeah, so we definitely need more people in STEM, and there's definitely ways to stay involved, even though you're not like a political science major. It's definitely possible. So just, you know, widen your option, and don't limit yourself to just those few selected typical political science major. But yeah, that's definitely something that I always tell people whenever I meet with students, especially, like, don't limit yourself. With that being said, I know I'm supposed to talk about, I have like a whole talking point, so let me pull that up. But so what does the city do? I think it's like the biggest mystery. Everyone knows what a president does, or people think they know what a president does, and Congress members. But what does city council do, and what does city staff do? Since I brought that up as well. City council, we make decisions that affect your daily lives. Like, literally, I cannot highlight enough. I always tell people it's so important to pay attention to your local government. And I'm sorry, I'm recovering from a cold. I was out sick for 2 weeks and it's still a little bit congested. But anyway, we make decisions that affect your daily lives. Like, for instance, how many of you take citrus? You know where citrus is? I see some head nods. Citrus Street.
Yes.
Have you noticed that we went from 1 lane to 2 lanes each way? Yeah, I see some head nods. If you take that street, you'll definitely notice right away, because it's a huge difference. And in fact, you know what, I can, if it's okay.
We have a couple of students who live in that street.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you'll notice right away on Citrus, and especially towards Harrison, Citrus and Harrison, that area. So it used to be 1 lane each way, so 2 lanes in total. Now it's 2 lanes each way, so 4 lanes in total. How did that happen? That's because folks elected a council member who lives right there and who was very annoyed at that situation. And guess who that council member was? It's me. I live right there. And so, you know, that has been an issue for decades. And before that, for those who take citrus, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It used to be 1 lane each way, but it's a very wide lane. And then people would just like start driving weird, and they will cut you off, create 2 lanes, even though it was only 1 lane. And it was dangerous. And people would speed, like drive, even though the speed limit is 45, it was very common for folks to drive like 55, 60. And so I live right there. I got really annoyed, and I was like, let's fix this. Like, why are we, it's such a simple solution. Just draw another lane. Like that's it. And so, yeah, and that was how we got to where we are today. And just little things like that you might not even think about, or even like potholes, you know, like potholes on the streets. Like we make those decisions, we allocate money to fix those potholes. Even like street lights, actually, like the light pole right outside your house. We just, the city made the decisions we made that decision 2 years ago to acquire all the street lights. Before that, those street lights actually used to belong to JCSD, which is another entity. But yeah, we just bought those lights 2 years ago, and we upgraded a lot of them, which some people complained it was too bright, but the intent behind it was that, you know, we want to make sure that it's well lit so that it's safe for our residents and families. Those are the things that we make decisions around that people might not realize. And it's, you know, even before I was on council, all I pay attention was what's happening on Congress, what's happening with the president, right? But nobody really pays attention to what's happening locally at the city council. And in fact, I just came back from a meeting. The reason why I was in such a big rush is it's because I just came back from a meeting. We met with this developer. It's called New Home Developer. So why did I meet with a developer earlier today? Because we're developing our downtown Eastvale. Has anyone heard about downtown Eastvale? So you know where Target is? Everyone knows where Target is, right? Do you guys remember there's this huge empty lot of land right next to Target, that complex? So it's like, specifically, it's across Jinya Ramen, if you know where Jinya Ramen is, or like Ralph's, right across Ralph's, there's this huge empty lot of land. We're developing that piece of land. So we hope to turn that whole area into a downtown Eastvale. Our goal is to bring in businesses and then some mixed use housing and commercial buildings. And also, personally, something that I'm most excited is we're hopefully going to bring in, not hopefully, let me rephrase that. We will be bringing in our own city library. So we will have our own library built right there. Yeah, super exciting. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. It's going to take the whole process to finish building it. It's probably going to take 4 years, but cannot come soon. I'm just like, please, like, just let it happen already. But yeah, it takes time to build buildings and to clear that whole area, because it used to be full of cows, and so there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. But yeah, those are the things that are happening right here in the city of Eastvale. And I know it's not as glamorous and it's not as glamorous and fancy as things that are happening on the federal level, but those are things that affect you and I every day. And so it is so important that I always tell people to pay attention to city issues, but also to, when you vote, make sure you vote all the way down. So this is the one thing that really annoys me about how how ballots work. So when you vote, I don't know if y'all have noticed, but when you vote, the first thing you vote for is the president. If it's a presidential election year, you first vote for president, and then you vote for Congress, and then you vote for state, and then you vote for state senate, state assembly, state controller, state. There's like a whole bunch of state positions, and then you go to county, and then the last one on the ballot, the very last thing is city. Like, so a lot of times you'll be surprised by how many people actually vote halfway through and they're like, okay, that's it, I'm done. So we always tell people, vote down the ballot. Make sure you vote all the way down. In fact, I would flip it and start from the bottom up. Yeah, make sure you vote all the way down. A lot of times I've seen it over and over, and frankly, I've done it once. It was my first time voting. I didn't know what I signed up for. I was 19 years old, my first time voting at Berkeley. And I was like, holy moly, I didn't even realize how many stuff are like down below on the ballot. I just thought I was voting for Congress and maybe state, that was it. But no, there were city council that I had to vote on, and city commission, like there was a whole bunch of stuff. I remember my first time voting, I got to the ballot, I did it in person. I got to the polling place and I was like, what is this? Who are these people? And thankfully I had my phone with me, so I did a quick Google search when I was when I was voting for the first time. But yeah, that was my mistake, a newbie mistake as well. But yeah, I always tell people, vote all the way down. Do your research about city council members, because it is very important and it affects you directly. So yeah, no, definitely do that. With that, any questions? I will also take questions. I know I have like 10-15 minutes left, so I also want to make sure that, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. Yeah, I think that is all that I have. I mean, I could talk for a lot longer, but I also want to make sure that I leave some space for questions as well.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mrs. Jocelyn. I think Nitya.
I have a question, Mrs. Jocelyn. So the city budgets, is it like a set amount that you get for each city, or is it like you give proposals like for certain projects and it gets approved and that's how you get the budget for your city?
Yeah, great question. Such a mystery, right? City budget. No, so all cities are different. All cities, it depends on what we have in the city. So in the city of Eastvale, we get most of our money from sales tax. So, and it's not just all businesses. We get our sales tax mostly from Costco. Surprise, surprise. I don't think it is for anyone. We all see how much money that Costco generates. We get most of our money from sales tax and most of our money specifically from Costco. And so this is why we always tell people it's so important when we say shop local, it's not a slogan that we just came up with. It's because we want our residents, we want people to shop here so that their money comes right back into the city. So for instance, when you tonight, if you decide to go to the city of Corona for your dinner, your tax dollar is paying for Corona. You're paying for the street improvement, you're paying for their street light, you're paying for their stuff. So I always tell people shop local. There's a reason for that. So those sales tax go directly back to the city. One thing that I do want to highlight, because it's such a misconception in the city of Eastvale, is that property tax, because I know we pay a lot for property tax, but actually those money go to the county. Like the city only get like I can't remember the exact amount, but it's so little that it's something that barely makes a difference for our city budget. We get like very, very, very small percentage of your property tax. All that money goes to Riverside County. And I just have to bring that up because every time people are like, we pay our property tax, all that money. I'm like, I know, I wish I had that money. Like, I wish we're allowed to take your money, but unfortunately, property tax money goes to the county. The other thing that and the reason why I said like every city is different, because depending on how many businesses they have in the city. So some cities that have like a lot of businesses going on, a lot of restaurants, they get more sales tax, obviously, but also there's another category, it's called Transient Occupancy Tax, TOT. So that TOT goes straight to the city. That money comes from car dealership and hotels, which we don't have any of that in the city of Eastvale. So I don't know if any one of you knows, the city of Cerritos. If you have driven by on the 91 freeway, Cerritos has a lot of car dealership. Like they have this whole section of the city dedicated to just car dealership. It's good money right there. Because all those cars, imagine like whenever you pay for taxes, like what if you buy a car for $50,000 and you pay 8% of the sales tax, all of that goes back to the city. And so yeah, so some cities get more money than others, some cities don't. And it's up to the council. It's actually up to us, the council, to diversify our source of revenue, right? So that's why we work so hard to recruit Costco. Costco opened in 2018. It was just not too long ago. And so now we're trying to build our first new hotel. I don't know if anyone saw it, but it's on Hamner Avenue, right by the 15 freeway, right by the big soccer field, Silver Lakes. There's a hotel that we're building. That's the reason why we try so hard to bring in a hotel. It's because we want to capture those TOT that we do not currently have in the city of Eastvale. We'll work on a dealership one thing at a time. But yes, that is that is how city generates revenue. It's through sales tax. In the city of Eastvale, unfortunately, we don't get a whole lot of property tax. But also TOT, transient occupancy tax, it's a good source of revenue. It's actually probably one of the best source of revenue for city.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jocelyn.
And I saw someone had a hand raised.
Arna Vayapuri, next.
Yeah, I actually have two questions for you. The first would be, how would you go contributing to a greener city? And then my second question is, do you have any advice for like children like me who might want to work in the state later on?
Yeah, great question. Only like a part of it also because yesterday was Earth Day. So thank you for bringing that up. Such an important question. One of the things that the city council can do to help with and the environment in general is saying no to warehouses. Like I don't know if y'all know this, but like if you go on, I want to name those cities, but I feel bad if I name them. I'm just going to name a few so that I don't call out a specific city. But like if you go to Moreno Valley, Banning, like that whole area, you see so many warehouses. I mean, even Jurupa Valley. Gosh, I hope no one is from Jurupa Valley here. But even Jurupa Valley, if you go down to Jurupa Valley, you'll see that they have so many warehouses. And even Eastvale, okay, you know what? I'll just name ourselves. Even in the city of Eastvale, right? Like we have the Amazon warehouse back there. And those are really bad for the environment, like horrible. It's one of the worst things you can do as city council member. So, we do make decisions that will impact the environment. It is a very, we do have that authority, that power, and that ability. And in fact, some cities, since I named Jurupa Valley, let me use them as a good example. What they recently did was that the city council issue a, what's the word? They issue a like kind of like an official statement. What they said was that they're saying no to warehouses, like straight up no more warehouses. They told the developers, they told everyone, they said we are not taking any more warehouses from now on until whenever that agreement expires. So city council has the authority to do that. Here in Eastvale, we haven't put out a formal statement, but I'm very comfortable in saying this. We're not. At least I know for sure I'm not taking, like I'm not interested in having any more warehouses. That's ridiculous. First of all, we don't have a whole lot of land left. And second of all, it's just bad for the environment. It's bad. It's also, warehouses, generally speaking, are not good paying jobs. They're low paying jobs that don't really serve our communities. What we need are, a better jobs that will actually suit our community. So that's me. How to get involved? How you're in middle or high school? I can tell from Zoom. Are you?
I'm in middle school.
Okay, yeah, it's in middle school, and it's a good time to start getting involved. I would like start volunteering at city events. Just start, show up to city events. Volunteer. We could always use more volunteers. Personally, my re-election is coming up this year. I could use some help with my re-election campaign. So keep in touch. I definitely need lots of help in fall. I need help people. Right, you agree. We need lots of help knocking on doors, getting our messages out, and just and make sure people vote. That's also the other thing. And I could use some help too. But just come to our city council meeting. Like sometimes they can get really long. Feel free to leave. That's also one of the things. I feel bad whenever people show up for the first time and they feel like they have to stay for the entire meeting. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, feel free to just leave. You can just walk out. But yeah, we have one this coming Wednesday actually. So we meet every second and fourth Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. at the city hall. But yeah, feel free to stop by, and if you have Instagram, follow me. I post a lot of updates on Instagram mostly.
Thank you.
Oh, also one more thing. I don't know if offices take middle school students, but once you get into high school, feel free to apply for internships. The city, we don't take high school students because our internships are actually paid internships. I know most internships are not paid at all. We offer paid internships for college students, but if you're in high school and you want to get a head start, Assemblymember Sabrina Cervantes, Senator Richard Roth, Congressman Ken Calvert. So those three are the representatives for this area. And the best part about our area is that we have both Democrats and Republicans. So if we can fit your needs. If you are more of a Democrat, there's Assemblymember Cervantes and Senator Roth. If you're more of a Republican, there's Congressman Ken Calvert. So it doesn't matter what your political ideology is. There's always something for you.
Thank you, Ms. Jocelyn. We'll definitely support you, and all the best for your venture.
Who wants to go next? Vijay. Yeah, Vijay raised his hand. Go ahead, Vijay. Yeah.
Hi, Mrs. Jocelyn Yow. My name is Vijay, and I'm from Ronald Reagan Elementary School. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, and that's awesome. Yes. Yeah, I don't think I've met a whole lot of students from Ronald Reagan, so lovely meeting you.
Thank you. I'm good. So our neighborhood appreciates you for helping us install the little library in my house. So how can we improve our little library? Can we connect with the public library and then deliver online reserved books to the little library? Or do you have any other ideas to improve it?
I don't know if you could do that, only because for the little library, at least for mine, I don't know about yours, but for mine, people usually take them and don't leave them. They take them and I never see the book back again. That's usually the case for mine. So I don't think, because for the library, like at Roosevelt, that's the library that we use. They have a very strict system. You have to return it within a certain time frame, or else you might get a penalty. So that might be a little bit challenging, but what you could do is that, in fact, that's something that hopefully we can do more often. It just, I haven't really had the time to do so, but we have all these city events every now and then. Like, bring some books to the city events. Like, I think you were there, weren't you there at the Christmas?
I
was gonna say, I remember you. Like, I think it would be great if we can show up at city events, community events, and like bring a table there, bring some books, and promote the little library in addition to giving out free books. I remember people love the free books. So yeah, that's definitely something that we could do.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jocelyn.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's actually really inspiring, Mr. Jocelyn. Many of our students, including Shana, has applied, and many other students are applying to get it installed in their homes. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I do have a few available, so feel free to put those applications in. Yeah, I do have a few available. Not a whole lot left, but I do have a few.
Yeah. Any other students have any other questions before we call? Shana, yeah, go ahead, Shana.
All right. Hi, Mrs. Yow. So you mentioned that our city needs better paying jobs earlier. What else do you think are important needs for our city right now that you're working on or plan to work on?
Yeah, my number one priority, it has always been my number one priority since day one, it's having our own library. Back then we didn't have the funding to do so. And so I actually started, in addition to the Little Library Project, I also started the Friends of the Library a few years ago. Unfortunately, because I got elected to council, I couldn't stay with the Friends. It will be a conflict of interest, but if anyone wants to be part of the Friends of the Library, let me know. We are looking for folks to be part of the Friends of the Library, because what happened was that I started that, but then I got elected to council, and then I passed it on to someone else, and that person was able to help out for a year, and then she got really busy. She has a grandkid, and so things just kind of fell apart. But we really need folks to serve on the Eastvale Friends of the Library. We need it's open, it's wide open. All the positions are open, like the chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer, everything is open. So if you're interested in serving in the Friends, it's basically a nonprofit. Yes, oh, where's grandma? Yeah. Oh, let's come on. We'll look for. Let's go. Let's go. But yeah, if you're interested in serving on the Friends of the Library, let me know. But yeah, yeah, I don't know where grandma went. But my number one priority is to make sure that we have our own library here in the city of Eastvale.
Thank you. Arna, you have a question? One more question?
Yeah, so I have another question for you. Because we all need to work together to keep our city a nice place to live in, what could we as individuals do to contribute to the well-being of our cities?
Yeah, a simple thing, like for instance, today we had a street cleanup. Hundreds of people showed up and we cleaned up almost the entire city, but we do that quite frequently. And so, yeah, definitely that's something that we can do. In fact, you all can just put together a group and say, you know what, every month we're gonna go clean up the street. Like that's something that anyone can do as well. Also, you feel free to adopt a street. Although I'm not too sure if any street is available for adoption, but it's possible that all the streets are already adopted. But what we have here in the city of Eastvale is that every section of the city is up for adoption. So once you adopt the street, basically what it means is that you're committing to cleaning up the street at least 4 times a year. That's all that we ask for. But yeah, anyone can do the street cleanup. And in fact, I would encourage you all, since there's a solid group right here, you know, every month just commit to cleaning up like this, you know, a section of the street. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions before Shana? You have one more?
Right, I have one last question, Mrs. Yow. I know that you're involved with the Eastvale City Youth Council. Could you tell us a little bit about that and what they do and how we can participate?
Yeah, so yes, buddy. So I started a youth council last year, and so we're still on our first cohort, and they're mostly high school students. We do ask that you be a resident of the city of Eastvale, and you'll have the chance to learn about city government, meet with city staff, and meet with city council members, and it's a learning experience. That's what it really is. Yeah. And also a chance to volunteer. Like there's a lot of volunteer opportunity through the youth council as well.
Is there a set time that we can apply in the future?
I cannot remember on top of my head, but let me circle back with you. Yeah.
That's all right. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thanks a lot. I think we can wrap up the Q&A. Caden needs his mom. The reason why, I mean, students would have wondered why we want to see Caden, because most politicians or people in public office, they think like they are, a little bit away from the family. But with respect to council member, Mrs. Jocelyn Yow, wherever you can see her son, Caden, and even in online and social media everywhere. So she is still connected, right? So that's more important. She values the family, values and all that. So that's more important for our students, and stay connected with the family. And let's move on to, I would like to call upon Pooja Harikrishnan, who is in River, if I say correctly, that's River Heights Intermediate. And who is also a lead volunteer in Style program, who is going to deliver a small vote of thanks for Mrs. Jocelyn and all of us. Over to you, Pooja.
Hello.
Pooja?
Hello.
Pooja, you can unmute.
Okay, hi everyone. I want to start off by saying that was a really great presentation. I found it really informative, and I'm sure everyone else did too. I want to give a special thanks to Ms. Jocelyn Yow for coming to this special style presentation and teaching us about what students need to know about the various city responsibilities. Even throughout your very busy schedule, we're really glad that you found time for us, and we're really grateful for it. I would also like to thank Mrs. Nithya Uttaman for introducing the SoCal Tamil organization. I think I can talk for everyone when I say that your speech about women's empowerment was incredible and super inspiring, and your talk about like fundraisers and everything was extremely meaningful. Finally, I would also like to thank Mr. Bala for introducing the Eastvale Summer operations. The growth of the school has really shown that anything is possible with the start of just a simple idea. I mean, you guys started with just 10 students and have worked your way up to about 88 students. That's incredible. I would also like to thank the students and parents for coming, especially those of you who had the courage to ask questions. Your interest in learning about the subject played a major role in making the session possible. With that being said, I want to again thank Mrs. Jocelyn Yow for being our guest speaker this evening. Thank you.
Thank you again for having me.